Hello, fairy finders and fairy seekers. Welcome to FaerieQuest and another episode of Faerie Talk, or Faerie Chat as I like. This time, rather than using cards, we are actually going to dowse with a fairy to get their story. I've been dowsing since about 2004, and dowsing gives us a little more information than what the cards can give. The photograph that I'm going to use is the very first one I took on September 27th, 2021, and the very first fairy I found in that first photograph. This is who we will be working with for this video. First, I'm going to show you a picture of that fairy, and then I'm going to give you a more detailed picture of that fairy. Then you will see me dowse for that fairy's name, and from there the message will be brought across, but you don't have to watch all of the dowsing. So let's get going. On the left of this screen is a portion of photo 1013. The photographs are far too large for the size that YouTube will allow, so we give you a part of it. And on this photo is a red rectangular box that is outlining the fairy we will be working with today. On the right hand side is an enlarged photograph of that fairy. Hopefully you can perhaps pick out bits and pieces. Most obvious would probably be the foot with the shoe. But the next screen will give you a more detailed look at this fairy. On the screen now are two pictures that are exactly the same size, and they have a picture of the fairy. One has no markings, the other one is marked out. And we can see at the top curly hair. I've separated that. We have two eyes, easy enough to see. In between the eyes is actually a beak and the mouth underneath the beak. Off to the right, we have an ear. And this fairy has hands, but it also has wings, so you can actually see feathers hanging down from the arms. And then, of course, there is the leg, one leg, and one foot with a greenish colored shoe. Keep in mind that these fairies, when they feel threatened in any way or when they feel the need to hide, they will do their best to blend into their surroundings. In most cases, this is leaves, so many of the fairies that I have photographed are green. Also, as you can see from the picture, this is not the full fairy. Part of this fairy is hiding behind a lot of the foliage. That's pretty normal too. So we get bits and pieces, but we don't get the whole fairy. Sometimes we do. So anyway, let's move on to finding out through dowsing who this fairy is. For those who aren't familiar with dowsing, I will be using the wooden alphabet board that you see on the screen, and also the teardrop shaped pendulum that you see above the board. Rather than taking the time to explain how this dowsing works in this video, I'll just go ahead and show you how I do it by getting this fairy's name. If, however, you are interested in knowing more about dowsing, please let me know in the comments below. Okay, so we're going to use dowsing to get the name of the little fairy from the Melbourne Cemetery that you saw on the picture. And we are only going to do the name on film because it would be very difficult for you to sit through the entire message that I will get later on my own. So we are asking my guide to connect us up to that little fairy and let us know what the little fairy's name is. P, O, T, O S I E Okay, so apparently the name is Potosie, Potosie. And while we are on camera here, is it possible to find out what species of fairy Potosie is? Okay, go ahead. R A G A R D Okay, so it looks like we're getting Ragard, Ragard. Is that correct? Okay. So just to let you know, I did double check the species for Potosie off camera, and it came back again as Ragard, Ragard. So let's see what the rest of Potosie's message is. Potosie of the Ragard species says, the Ragard are part avian and part human, in that we have legs, feet, and hands. We also seem to have the ears of the elf species, though how and when this came to be is a mystery to me. We do not live on your planet, but we love coming here as each of your seasons change. There are delightful delicacies and eye treasures in each season, which cannot be found anywhere else. We have noticed over the last 5 seasons of 4 that something is and has changed. The eye treasures are dimming, becoming hazy, and those delectables have an unappealing appearance, flavor, and fragrance. These changes are not due to changes in your planet, meaning natural changes, but of deathly toxic air, earth, and water. Even the fires consuming so much are not natural. The Ragard have spoken about not returning, but there is also talk of lending a hand, as we know these changes are not due to natural evolution. We are not decided yet. We are able to reach you now and will share when the time is right. In the meantime, the Ragard are what you would call nomads, but we are able to travel anywhere we choose, through what you might call space, time, and imagination. Some Ragard have chosen to settle, but with a twitch of the ear, we can be with them or they with us. It is a lovely existence with adventure at nearly every turn. Such as the visit we are having now. This was not a thought in my expectancy until it suddenly was. We are so pleased to meet you. The Ragard will speak to you again. Potosie will speak to you again for the Ragard. So there we are, fairy finders and fairy seekers. A conversation through dowsing with a fairy by the name of Potosie from the species Ragard. If you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. We have more of this kind of communication and many other things coming your way. So until next time, take care.